Summarizing everything about metabolism of like glucose, I'm doing everything before we now start seeing their pathways. So the body's economy, how our cell manage the business of life. That's what we're doing today. How the cell go produce energy, what happens when there is glucose, and what happens when there is no glucose. What is this that is so important about glucose and other micromolecule or micronutrients? So let's start with the fundamental challenge: constant demand and intermittent supply. Our body requires a constant stream of energy 24 hours in 7 weeks. Our body constantly need energy, yet we provide fuel in just 2 or 3 distinct meals. So our body constantly need energy, and the energy our body needs are coming from our meal. Most people take 2 times in a day. Most people eat 3 times in a day. So the morning is called breakfast, afternoon lunch, and the night is dinner. That is the way our body gets its own micronutrients for production of energy that is required to carry out the day-to-day activities. So we have the two sides of metabolic ledger. So we have two sides of metabolic. So what happens also when we talk about metabolic or metabolism, what comes into your mind? We have anabolism and we have catabolism. So anabolism means up, we are building up. Catabolism means what? Down, we are breaking down. So the building or the saving phase is anabolism, while the spending phase or expenditure is your what? Your expenditure phase is your what? Catabolism. So just have something in mind. You cannot spend money if you don't have money. So you have to first and save money. So that's what our body is doing. Our body first and save some molecules, or then before spending those molecules. So synthesizing complex compound from smaller precursors, this is how we build tissues and store energy for later intake or use by the body. Think of it as income and endothermic synthesis and what? Storage. So we are constantly, our body constantly need energy. Remember, we're just summarizing everything before we start overviewing the pathway. So after this lecture, after these slides, we are going to start these reactions. So we have synthesizing, we are synthesizing storage. So what is happening? You have to first anabolize before catabolizing. So breaking down large molecules to release energy. This is how we fuel our daily activities. Think of it as spending currency. So during the time of fasting, exothermic. During the time of fasting, we are constantly breaking down in order to what? Releasing energy. To release energy. While in the time of anabolizing, when we are saving, we are synthesizing in order to store energy or use some of the energy. While in catabolism, we are totally breaking down everything in order to release energy. So you have the primary source of metabolic fuel, carbohydrates, lipids, and protein. So these are the main major micronutrients for energy required by our body. So our body requires most energy by carbohydrates. So the energy that is constantly, carbohydrate supplies 40 to 60% of daily energy intake. That is why in your food, carbohydrate is always required to be the main major micronutrients in that food. So for a food to be balanced, it must have the 6 classes of food. Carbohydrate must be the lipid, must be the, and protein. Your body cannot do without these 3 things. So our primary and most accessible energy source, broken down into simple sugars like glucose, are called carbohydrates, because our body makes use of glucose to produce energy. That is why carbohydrates supply 40 to 60% of the energy intake. We have the lipid, our most dense energy reserve, stored as triglycerol. 30 to 40% of daily energy intake is what? Produced by this lipid. And we have the what? Proteins, essential for the building and repair, but can be used for energy when needed. 10 to 15% of daily energy intake. So protein most times function as energy giving food during starvation, when someone is about to die, or the carbohydrates have been used up, or the lipids have been used up, or the triglycerides have been used up. Everything in your body have been used up. So remaining the protein, that is when protein will now function as energy giving food in our body, and it only works perfectly well during the starving stage. While the lipid in our body most times are stored as what? Triglyceride in the adipose tissue.